welcome to the September 12th, 2022 Commission meeting held here at the Commission chambers. It is 11 a.m. I'd ask everybody to turn your phones off or put them on silent, if you would, please. We will start today with a prayer from Jeremy Raymond and a pledge from Jabin Carter.
The items on the agenda today, and we appreciate all that was done for us. Help us to have a great week and to love and serve one another and to make this a great place to live. And we're grateful for the rain that we have received. We ask you to bless us with more, that we can have what we need for our valleys and rivers and streams. And we say these things in Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Jeremy, and thank you, Jabin. Appreciate that. Already told him.
Okay. I must have missed it.
You missed it. Okay, first item is approval of minutes for August 22nd and August 29th.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to go ahead and approve the minutes for August 22nd and August 29th.
Okay, have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Next would be the report of the warrants and review of counter signatures and certified list of claims. No mic today.
Yeah, no mic, so you got me.
Mr. Hall?
Yes. So Caleb Hall from the... Got that working there? So yeah, I've been asked by Mike to present the warrants and all that today. So I've got 2 weeks. So let's start with dated from 9/1 for a total of $152,076.43. Do you have any questions on that one? Okay. And so the next week for dated 9/8/2022 for a total, this was a bigger one, $791,268.27. And I was just going to address two of the bigger checks that made up most of that. So we had $200,000 that went to the Uintah Care Center that was requested for operations, and we had another one that was for the cemetery, the annual contribution, for $361,900. And do you have any questions on that, commissioners?
No.
Okay. And I've got a list of claims that didn't have POs. So the first one was with check number 381732. This was for Cache Valley Electric.
Can you hold on just a second?
Oh, yeah.
Are we recording? Or do we?
It doesn't look like it this morning.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Do you want me to repeat all that?
We'll see here in just a minute.
Okay. Thank you.
It's bad enough to have to do it one time, let alone twice.
Good practice.
center, and I was just looking around, and 7-Eleven had catered that night, and he had probably 15 people there with his staff because it was a 250 person dinner. And most of the people he had working, I know, work full-time jobs in other businesses in the community. And so it takes an entire community to put on an event that size. It was the largest event the conference center has ever hosted since they've been open. We definitely learned some things, plumbing, directions, different stuff like that. Just that's a lot of people to be there and be there for 5 days, and like constantly turning those rooms over for different setups between the different meetings that were going to happen within the rooms. So if I were to say anything, I'd just say kudos to the entire community, because it takes so many people to be able to put on an event that large. We had 10 VIP dinners that went out amongst the community in different restaurants. They also had to provide like a separate menu than they normally would, because we had like a budget to keep it within. And so they had separate menus for them to order off of. And then they had unique setups that they had to have for that. So it was a huge undertaking. But people are so excited and can't wait to come back for next year. And we're excited to be able to host them again. We already have lots of notes of things that we want to do and change and make better. We had our Voice of Believers that happened at Remember the Main Park on Friday night, where people can get up and tell their own stories. So that's a good time. And you can just buy tickets to that individually. So you should all write that down on your calendars and come to that, because that's a lot of fun. But yeah, is there anything else? My estimation is probably $1 million economic impact to the community from just that one event. So, and that's probably definitely on the low end. I mean, our ticket sales are about $150,000 on their own. So, and then all of the meals and hotels and gas and excursions and everything that they're doing. So, and several of them are staying over and hunting Sasquatch until the 15th of this month. So they'll still be out there. If you see them, welcome them. You may not see them because some of them are in spirit. But anyways, it's a good time. It's one of those things where, you just have to embrace what you have and go for it. And yesterday, as Thomas was like our concluding speaker, Thomas Winterton, and he was wrapping it up, and he was just saying, how, Bryce Canyon, Garfield County is known for their hoodoos, and St. George for their golf, and Zion National Park, and Moab, and for arches and jeeping and everything. And Vernal is known for dinosaurs and for paranormal activity. And you know what? You just embrace it and you just go with it, and it's a great thing for our community. I had several people that were like, you could host this on the Wasatch Front and have several thousand people come. Like, you guys just do such a good job, and you could have, even more people come if you were closer to the airport. But that's not what people want. They want to be here. They want to be in the heart of the paranormal country. They want to go out to Skinwalker Ranch. They want to go up to McConkey Ranch and see the petroglyphs and have the speaker that interprets that. And they want those excursions and to be here. So we're blessed to live in a community that has those kind of things going on, so we can have a great event. Any questions? No? Okay, the mics work. You can start your meeting now. Okay.
Alicia, thank you. Thank you and all your staff for everything, for putting that on. You guys do an amazing job. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank everyone. Okay, how about we try the review of counter signatures again, certified list of claims.
All right, good morning, Commissioners. So Caleb Hall from the Clerk Auditor's Office. I'm just presenting this on behalf of Mike. So the first, we've got 2 weeks of registers here. So dated from 9/1, total of $152,000 $152,000.76 and 43 cents. And did you have any questions on that? No. Okay. So dated check run from 9/8. And the total was $791,268.27. And so there were 2 big checks we wanted to point out. So 200,000 went to the Uintah Care Center for, requested for operations. And the other was for 361,900, and that is our annual contribution to the cemetery. Did you have any questions on that? Okay. And so these are our list of claims that didn't have POs. And so the first one is check 381732 for Cache Valley Electric. And that was for Crestron repair, I believe with IT. Do you have any questions on that one?
No.
The next one we have is for Robert Bryce for the amount of $6,199.54. And this was for a speaker fee for an event on August 30th that didn't have a PO. Okay. Our next one is for V6 Media for the amounts of $712.50 and $1,140. The one for $712 was for Dinosaur Days promotions. And the next one was for Moonshine Arch, day trip, just production it looks like. And sorry, we got a bunch here. So Uintah Basin UB Media for the amount of $1,000. It looks like this had to do with emergency preparedness, printing and stuff with that event. So those are all the claims that I have. Do you have any questions on that?
No, I've reached out to the department heads on them already and talked to them about them, so
All right,
should be
Okay.
good.
thank you. And so,
Have any questions? Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve counter signature of the certified list of claims as presented by Caleb.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thanks, Caleb.
Thank
You
you.
doing the cemetery certificates
yes,
also?
I've got those as well. So our first one is from Avalon Cemetery for Craig Kosoff and Elizabeth Kosoff. And the space is Block C lot, 32 spaces, 5 through 8. And the next one is Mazer Fairview Cemetery for William Kremen Jr., lot 798, spaces 5 and 6. Another one from Mazer Fairview Cemetery for Natalie Ramirez. It's for Mazer Columbarium West Side G8 double. From Rock Point Cemetery Phase 2, Jill Workman, Block 336, Lot C, spaces 27, 28, and 29. Again, from Rock Point, Riley Stone, Block 336, Lot C, spaces 30 to 31. And from Vernal Memorial Park Cemetery, Kimberly Smith, Block H60, Lot 2, space 3. And from Vernal Memorial again, Barbara Meek and Lonnie Meek, spaces 217, spaces 17, 18, and 19. And those are all the cemetery plots I have to present.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to accept the cemetery certificates as presented by Caleb Hall.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thanks, Caleb. Appreciate that. Do you have any tax matters today?
Not as far as I know, no.
Okay.
Thank
Wendy? None. Seeing none, we'll move past the tax matters. We'll go on to the business licenses.
Good morning, Gabby Hawks Blackburn with Community Development. We just have one today, and it's a commercial business license. It's Ossine Work, O-S-S-I-N-E, Osney, maybe, Work. Anyway, commercial business located in the industrial zone at 1222 East Highway 40, parcel number 54526. This is a retail store where customers will go in. They sell shoes, boots, apparel, accessories, gifts, and notes. We've had building, fire, and the health department out there to check it out, and everything looks good. So we recommend approval of this business license with the condition that they follow all building, health, and fire rules and regulations.
Okay. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the commercial business license for OSSIN, OSSINE Works, with the understanding that they comply with all building, health, and fire code regulations.
Okay.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Next item on the agenda is discussion on possible bid awarding for the asphalt silk coat of the drag strip at the Buckskin Hills Recreation Complex. This one, we're actually just going to look at rejecting the bids. We'd like to, a motion if that's possible to reject the bids. As we've dug into this, we have found that none of the silk coats that's available right now will work with the tacky stickum that they use. And so we'd just like to reject those bids for now, if that's possible.
Is that how we need to go about that? Just reject the bids?
Yeah, there would need to be a motion just to reject all bids.
All right, I'll make the motion that we reject all bids on this at this time for the seal coat strip at the Buckskin Hills Recreation Complex.
Okay, have a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Next item is consider approval of a conceptual design for the airport hangar ramp construction. Who would that be?
Yeah, imagine, right?
We done.
Good morning to the commission and good morning to the community. As you can see, we had to use legal paper today because of my area and the grant area, so the airport's gonna gag you with a whole bunch of information here for a couple minutes. And leading off, and a little bit out of context, just for the community to know and how excited we are. We hosted the homecoming dance out at the airport, as most people know, and Classic Aviation took that on in cooperation with Dynaland Aviation and, of course, the Vernal Regional Airport. Had a great time. Nobody got hurt. It all worked out really well. Lots of smiles. And the high school administration was kind of panicked about that even as late as Friday, but it still worked out really well. So we'll look to maybe making some of those improvements and maybe doing that again in the coming years. So.
You looked like they had a lot of fun.
It was a blast. We got out of there about just shy of midnight after we got everything cleaned up, and everybody was happy, and it worked. So we're excited about it.
Good.
Before you go into that, Ken, I just have to ask you, it seemed like it was Friday afternoon. I was pulling down and I saw like a beautiful Gulfstream takeoff followed by 3 Pilatus right in a row, and I was like, what in the world is going on down there?
We've been a little bit busier, which is a good thing. We love the enplanements. We love the fact that people are coming in and out of here. Some of those people you saw were here for fishing excursions and such. Some of those unnamed people can obviously afford a Gulfstream, so worked out pretty good. I'd love to say that some of them came in for Phenomicon, but I guess that's top secret or something. Who knows?
I thought they beamed in.
They beamed in. That's right. Next is the Triennial Exercise. Every 3 years, the airport is required to have an exercise where we simulate an aircraft incident of some sort, and we're going to do that on the 15th, which is this coming Thursday, out at the airport. I've been in contact with the newspaper and having another meeting today with all the appropriate leadership in town, the sheriff and the police department, the fire department, all those people, Heidi from the Emergency Operations Center, and we're going to get that in, get it done. That'll occur at 5 o'clock in the p.m. on Thursday the 15th. Next one is not a popular thing, but, well, popular from one respect. We're going to crack seal, recoat, and repaint every surface at the entire airport. And as you can imagine, that sounds like a really good thing, but that does include us closing the runway. So I told the contractor that's doing that at all cost, we will not impede United's traffic.
They come in at 8:40 at night and they leave at 6:30 in the morning. So once they're gone and comfortable, we're going to end up closing the entire runway on the 19th and the 20th for 8 hours on the first day and 10 hours on the second day. I'm not very popular for that. I'm not excited about that, but I'm excited for what happens as a result of that. Trying to communicate with as many people as we can to let them know that we're going to impede traffic just a little bit. So the result will be good. Zeke and his crew are going to get up and talk here in just a minute about quite a pile of different things that we feel like together, co-op agreements, grant agreements, and things like that. Somewhere we haven't figured out very well how to communicate that well between our two organizations. Somewhere there's some paperwork dropped between the state, us at county, us at Vernal. Our team is losing something somewhere. So we've been working pretty hard to try to figure out what that glitch is, and we simply think that we're not sharing paperwork appropriately or something. So bear with us a little bit. You're going to hear some of that next from Michelle as she stands up and talks about a little bit of that stuff, and I'd be glad to be around to help for that. And then last is, second to last actually, is, believe it or not, I'm happy about this, our enplanements are on track or above track, and we still have Thanksgiving and Christmas, which we usually do really well. So I think we're on track to meet those right now. I'd love to say don't quote me, but I just said it on a recording, so I understand that. I'm excited about that. That will yield us the maximum amount of federal support possible once we make that number. So we're headed for success there. Now on to what you actually asked me to be here for, and that is a proposal. I handed all three of the commissioners a proposal, and anybody in the community is welcome to see it. It's a 14-page document, but I highlighted 3 pages that are the most important. If you'll please turn to page 4, you'll see a picture, because that's worth 1,000 words, right? We acquired a new piece of property. If you can see the orientation there, that's the eastern portion of the old crosswind runway, where the RPZ is, or the runway protection zone. You'll see 5 blue boxes. Those represent hangar spaces that are as big as 60 by 60. The yellow portion in front of those hangars to the south is the portion that we're going to be talking about. Any questions about the orientation? Flip back to page 1. Actually, let me make it even way easier. Flip to the very back page. On the very back page, it has a number that says $462,355.21. For that money, which comes from the county's money and the city's money, not federally supported. So county and city money combined, $462,355.21. For that money, we create the yellow portion of that picture that I just described to you, which will allow us to build 5 hangars and have a shovel in the ground by springtime. If you called around the local area, we've talked a lot about this before, almost a 250 nautical mile circle, there's no hangars available. So if you build them, they will come.
And these, Ken, this money is the money out of the budget that we already budgeted for the
That's
airport.
correct.
It's nothing new.
Nothing new.
It's in the budget now.
Absolutely. You and I and the commission have spoken about these sets of monies. This is because we retooled the way we did some of the budgeting out at the airfield. When we got federal support monies, we kind of retooled those. All those monies are oriented toward operational function, which you used to pay for before those monies were available out of the monies that you're talking about, Mr. Haslam. So what we did when I got here was we traded out, and I started paying operational things out of those federally supported operational monies, which gave us a little bit of a, gosh, I hesitate to say in public, it's like a savings account, but you can't have one. You know what I mean? It's a pot of money that is combined county and city money that we do these kinds of things at the airport with, because I can't use those other funds federally to do these kinds of things. So we're just reorienting how we do that efficiently. Did we stop being recorded?
It's still recording.
Okay. Oh, okay, good. Which means I can still blab?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right,
We'll grab the recording.
perfect. Last bit of blab. Turn to the very front page. On the very front page, you'll see $139,770, which is an opportunity for me to pat our new engineer group, which is called Armstrong Engineering, on the back. That $139,770 is what we pay them to do this project if approved through the county. I've been through the city's process, and they've all approved this proposal. Any questions?
I have none. You have any questions?
I do. These will be owned by the airport?
No. These will be
Will be
hangar
sold.
spaces that will be leased to other people to
Leased.
build. This will provide lease space. If we,
Yeah, but who's leasing them?
we will
County,
lease
city.
the
The
space
airport.
underneath the hangar
Okay.
to the person that builds the hangar on that space.
Okay, is there recapture, we're gonna recapture money enough to pay for this, or
If
is
you
it
did math, it would be a long set of
long time?
recapture.
Okay. So it's not intended to do that?
No, no.
All right.
This is simply turning red into black, if you will. This, my interest in the next decade for the airport is to drag everything to zero. From, I want to get out of the red where it costs this town, this Uintah Basin area, very, very little money to run the airport. And I have all kinds of different plans, as you can imagine, to get that done. And this is just part of it. This will increase revenue.
Okay.
Have any questions? Commissioner Stringer, any further questions? So we need to approve this and motion to approve the agreement, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the conceptual design for the airport hangar ramp construction as presented.
Okay,
Second it.
do you have any comments, John?
I was just making sure, is Grant's good with this one? Anything going on there, or did you guys need to say anything?
This is probably a surprise to grants because there's no grant associated.
But
This is
it's-
our money.
It would be the other agenda items, right, not this one? Okay, just double checking.
Okay,
Not the first time I've surprised grants.
any further questions? We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. You need a copy of this?
I have some,
No, do you need a copy after I sign it?
please. I'll get it from you.
You'll get it from the clerk's office after they copy it.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michelle Zils with Grants and Purchasing. I have the next three agenda items. So the first one is a co-op agreement for Airport Project 3-49-0037-038-2020. The grant agreement for this has already gone through. This is just the co-op agreement with the State of Utah Department of Transportation Aeronautical Operations Division. John has reviewed it and said it looks good, and it is now ready for signatures.
And this is just an agreement, no
Yes.
dollar amount
Not
attached
with
to
this
this.
one. Nope.
Okay? Any questions? Consider a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we accept the co-op agreement for Airport Project 3-49-37-38-2020.
Okay, have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passed.
Okay.
Next one?
The next two agenda items are for Airport Project 45. It's for the grant agreement and the co-op agreement. Are you okay if we do them together, or would you like me to present them separately?
I might want to split them.
Yeah, just do
Okay.
them separate if you would.
So the first one, as I said, is for the grant agreement. This is for Airport Project 349-0037-045-2022, which is for SIL Runway 1735 pavement surface, SIL Taxiway A pavement surface, SIL Commercial Apron pavement surface, and SIL General Aviation apron pavement surface. John reviewed the grant agreement for this and said it looks good and is ready for signatures.
Okay. Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the grant agreement for Airport Project 3493745 as presented.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Okay, so the next one is for the co-op agreement for Airport Project 3490037-045-2022. And this is the agreement with the State of Utah Department of Transportation Aeronautical Operations Division. And again, John has reviewed this and said it is good and is ready for signatures.
Okay. Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'd make the motion to accept the co-op agreement for Airport Projects 3493745 2022 as presented.
Okay. Have a motion.
It is the same number as the one above it, the grant agreement and the co-op?
Yes, they're
Okay.
two separate agreements.
Second.
Lindsay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is non-compliant buildings.
Okay, good morning. Matt Kazir with Community Development. The first one, we are requesting authorization to record a certificate of non-compliant building or structure on property located at 4051 South Vernal Avenue, serial number 63291. This particular property, the owners, they had a garage with garage doors. They decided they wanted to convert the garage into something other than a garage. And so they removed the garage doors and built a wall in the place of the garage door openings and are in the process of converting the garage into additional living space in the house. The structure was posted with a notice, and at the time the inspector that posted the notice did talk with the property owner, and the property owner kind of walked him around what they were doing. But since that point, we haven't had any contact with the owner. They didn't meet the specified date on the notice that was posted on the home. And so we sent a certified letter out to them, and we have not received any further correspondence from them. So the recommendation on this one is that we would record the certificate of noncompliance immediately.
Okay. Have any questions?
No. Did you, oh, I'm sorry, did you say right?
Right now,
Right
yeah.
now?
Yep.
Okay.
Entertain a motion then.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve authorization of the certificate of non-compliant building or structure for properties at 63291.
Okay.
Second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Okay, next one.
Okay, the next one, I'm going to request that, I don't know if we remove it from the agenda or just that no action be taken on it. I did confirm that he has removed the awning that was falling down, so it's been removed from the structure, and so he's currently in a compliant status with us.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if you're so inclined, you can just strike that from the agenda based off a recommendation from Community Development.
We'll just strike that from the agenda. Number 3.
All right. Okay, so we're requesting authorization to record a certificate of non-compliant building or structure on property located at 1630 West, 500 North in Vernal, serial number 49441. This is a shed that was built on the property. It appears that it's under the 200 square feet, so it does not require a building permit, but it was constructed too close to the back property line, and it still needs to meet the zoning setbacks. The owner of the property just came up and talked to me here when the meeting started. He did show me some pictures showing that the picture and video that he had showed that they were in the process of moving the wall back and such. So with this one, I would request that we have 30 days and we can go out and verify that that work's been done and that they comply with the current setback requirements.
Okay. Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd make the motion that requesting authorization to record a certificate of non-compliance for the structures or buildings at 1630 West, 500 North here in Vernal, Utah, 49441 for a 30-day notice. Is that how we got it?
Okay. Have a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. All right, the next is an ordinance amendment for ordinance numbers 88202201. Is that yours too,
Yeah, I've got that as well.
also?
Of course, I talked too long, so this died on me here. Okay. So Commissioners, what you have in front of you here, this is an ordinance. You can see that it's been on the agenda before. I believe at that meeting, no action was taken. There was some discussion at that meeting on some possible changes to the ordinance. And so that's what's shown here. These are not all the changes to this particular section 17.33.020. I took the changes that were presented at the last meeting, and I'm just showing the changes that were made to that draft. There's two sections here that were amended. The first one is under A number 1. And from that section, we would strike not covered by buildings, so 25% of the property to be used for storage of construction materials. That's all they could use of the property, and that would include if they're storing material inside of buildings or outside, either one. It's just going to be 25% of the property can be used for that purpose. And then the other change is down under number 9. It's adding number 9, and it's putting a time limit on them. So this says conditional use permits for storage of construction materials shall not be approved for more than 2 years in any 3-year period. All construction materials must be removed from the property by the date the conditional use permit expires. So it wouldn't be open-ended. They would have to have a time limit put on them of not more than 2 years. If they wanted it for less than that, though, they could get it approved for less than that as well. So those are the changes that were made from the previous draft that was presented back on August 8th, I believe. And then I did make the change down here as well to, on the draft I have here, that shows today's date as the approval. So I think that's what I've got on this one.
I've had a chance to read over it. It looks good to me, so I'll put it up. See if anybody wants to make a motion.
I think the reason it got postponed is because when it came up the first time, we didn't have any kind of standards for it. I think some of our questions were so that it was originally 25% uncovered or outside of building permits, and decided, well, gosh, you could end up putting a lot on there if you just constructed a shed. So that change, along with at least some measurement of time frame, I think was what we were looking for. This seems to do it for me, so I'm good with that.
Okay.
And I
So-
think John had some concerns along those same lines.
Mine was more on the timing, and that's been addressed now, so I'm fine.
Okay. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the amendment to Ordinance 88-2022-01 as presented.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Matt. I know that's been a grueling one for you and the Planning Commission. Appreciate your time. Next item is the Moonlight Electric contract for the easement for the utilities at Buckskin Hill Gun Range.
So we've brought one of these before the commission before for the easement over at the shooting range. This one is for the line that will be, state my name, Leisha, with Travel and Tourism Office. This easement is for next to the drag strip where the power will go for the timing system and ticketing.
This one's for the gun range, isn't it?
He told me this one was for up by the drag strip. We already did, you looked this over, right?
I think we did the drag strip already. I think this is for the gate at the gun range.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, maybe he told me the wrong thing. I thought we already did the gun range and this one is for the drag strip, but it could be opposite, but
Gun range.
didn't we already do the gun range?
Did.
Yeah, this one is for the drag strip, for the gate at the drag strip. Yes,
Well, this says gun range.
hold on.
Can we just
So we need both,
gun
right?
range and
Yeah, we need both.
Yeah,
And
we
it's
need,
listing Buckskin Complex. So we have the general area.
Yeah.
I would treat it as a scrivener's error as if it's gun range or the drag strip.
okay,
I thought we
Because
talked,
both have hit my office, and actually, quite frankly, I can't remember which one went through commission or not. I just know I reviewed both.
okay.
how about we just really talk about both of them really quick?
Yeah, so let's talk about both of them real quick. So
We have to get power.
we have to get power from Moon Lake, from the overhead lines, to run both of the electric gates. So at the gun range, we are installing an electric gate, which you will be able to get an access card for free, but we will have your name and information and when you scan in and out so that we know if there's damage, who was on the property at that time. And then also there will be an electric gate as well at the drag strip so that it can, we don't want anybody going out there racing their cars and harming themselves. And also that same power will provide access for the timing system at the drag strip. So Moon Lake just needs an easement so that they can get on Uintah County property in order to maintain their power lines for both of those electrical facilities. How does that sound?
Sounds great to me.
All right.
Okay, with that, somebody want to I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we enter into a contract with Moon Lake Electric for an easement for the utilities at the Buckskin Hills Complex.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
And I think we'll have in the description what's intended by that, right? That
Yeah.
we need both of them, and because there is this little confusion on what was placed on the agenda, yeah, that the intent is to make sure we're covering both.
Okay, the 2022 Wellness Fair vendor, Life Health. Is that Ms. Tanya?
Good morning, Tanya Craven, Human Resource Office. We are gearing up for our yearly wellness fair that will be on November 3rd. every year we like to try and bring in a new vendor and continually increase the benefits to our employees. So this year, we have an opportunity to bring in Life Health to do all of the biometric screenings. We have used a provider locally for several years, but we haven't been able to get them synced in with our providers. So the information that's collected isn't able to be loaded into the employee's record, so they're not able to access that. By utilizing a company that can integrate with our provider, that information is able to be synced into the employee's medical records and then utilized by the employee, and then we're able to also not have access to their personal information, but we can gain analytics to help drive our wellness program. And saying that, the certification of compliance released to vendor needs to be signed so that Life Health can also bill Cigna directly, so that all of the biometric screens, there is no cost to the county for any of that. So all the employees can go down, participate in all their biometric screenings, which would be a $70 fee per employee. But by providing Life Health the opportunity to do that, all of the costs will go directly to Cigna, because they'll be provided that access. There are other additional benefits going through Life Health. If you want me to give you all of those bullet points, I can go into that. You have any other questions for me?
I have a question for you. I see that Life Health sent me a DocuSign to sign one of these,
Yes, I brought one for you in paper.
but yeah, I can't sign it because it won't allow me to put in the commission.
Oh,
It just
I
said signature.
just in case, I brought you a paper so that you can sign it and I can scan it and send it to them.
Okay.
So what exactly is it that we are
So
being
we
asked to
are,
approve?
it is approval so that Life Health as a vendor can bill Cigna directly for the biometric screenings. Without this, Cigna will not accept their billing. And then the county would have to pay for all of that.
We'll pay for it anyway.
Well, Life Health provides a lot more in their biometric screens as well.
I know. Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the authorization for vendor Life Health to bill Cigna directly for the is it screening or
The biometric screenings.
biometric screening process as presented, including authorization of signature.
Second it.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
I have just one little kudos I want to put out there. Our wellness program participates in a healthy savings discount program. And this year, because of the all of the participation of our employees and how hard they worked in wellness, our wellness coordinator with Cigna did put forward a 3% discount going towards our renewal, because we had such great participation in our wellness program. So participating in wellness and having that does help us at the end of the year towards our renewals. And next year, we'll have the opportunity to have 6% in total decrease in our renewal if we were to continue. Just putting that out there, that wellness does have a large impact in our renewal processes as well. So just kudos to our staff and kudos to Jabin, who worked really hard to get all of those challenges out. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate all your time. Okay. Next item would be board appointments.
Mr. Chairman, I have two for the library board that are actually overdue. One was submitted, one was forgotten to be, they forgot to submit, but I do have both of them now. One of them is for Linda Ney. She would be a 4-year term beginning July 1st, 2022, and running through June 30th, 2026. The second is for Heather McKee, a 4-year term beginning July 1st, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2026. I would make the motion that they be reappointed.
Okay.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Okay, the next one is discussions, feelings are not facts. I actually had this put on there. I was hoping that Mike would be here, that we could clear the air on a few things and just make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to the amount of money that the county has and what it's gonna take to pay off the jail. As I keep getting these emails, I've got a few emails and a few texts from concerned citizens that they have been completely misled by feelings instead of facts. And I'll share a couple of these with you and you tell me where I'm wrong. It says that I hate politics. I tried to avoid them as much as possible. I'd rather keep my head in the sand. But I've learned that our beloved county commissioners voted to pay off a multiple $1,000,000 interest-free loan due 2026 on the jail. The jail is not an interest-free loan. The loan is a variable interest rate of 2.225% up to 5%. I have a sheet that shows that from Zions Bank. If anybody would like a copy of it, I'll give it to you. It's an interest-bearing loan. So those feelings are out there that are saying these different things. It says that we are going to be paying off a penalty of $950,000 for paying it off early. Another one, same kind of deal, says we're paying off 0% loans. It's not the case. And so I thought I'd put together a little thing here because there's been a lot of comments brought to this attention, and people don't think that I put a lot of thought into when we go to pay off a loan. When you pay off a loan of $26 million, I put a lot of thought process into that. And I go to people that have schooling, that they are certified CPAs, that are in the business world, that understand money. They understand that cash is king, but interest rules what you do with that cash. And so I went and I talked to a few of them, and some of these, the feelings that are out there is paying off the GO bond will take away all the reserves. Another one is that the county will have no money to fix the library roof or the public complex or any of those kind of things that come up. That if we take $26.5 million, that we could maybe earn a higher interest rate, but so far we haven't. We've been averaging about 1 to 2% on the average. One of them was that we could save $2 million on the GO bond if it's paid off early by investing the $2.65 million. We might not. That's a feeling. We don't know if we could do that or not. So then there's another one that if we pay off this debt that we won't be able to go to the CIB for funding anymore. That's not true. That's a feeling. We can. There was a presentation that there was a smoke and mirrors that we're moving one loan to another, that we're going to have to borrow money to pay our bills if we pay off the debt. That doesn't appear to be true. That's a feeling, once again, because when we started talking about this over a year ago, we were sitting about 1.1 million on the average. And as of August 31st, we were at 1.5 million. So we're still gaining money. So it doesn't appear to me that's the case. A couple other ones, and there's been quite a few. I'm just trying to highlight some of them. And one that was brought up by our sheriff is that that if we're able to pay this debt off, that we'll be able to bring in federal inmates that would increase our revenue by $1.1 million a year on average. We feel we can do that. Same as these other fillings, but we don't know. I mean, that's just what it is. But you can't use fillings to make decisions. What you can do, and I don't want to babble on, but I'm going to go ahead and just read a couple things else here, is things that we can fall back on are facts. The fact is, the county, with the interest, the county has to pay, the county owes $25.615 million on the jail. We owe that. It is on an interest range from 2.25 to 5%. The yearly payments go between $2.65 million and $2.69 million through the year 2034, which the interest on that $25.615 million will cost us $6.455 million in interest. No question, that's a fact. In 2022 through 2034, the county will pay $32.7 million. The taxpayers will be paying the payment over the next 13 years if we don't pay it off. And that we'll still have the $26 million sitting on our savings account, but whose money is this that's in the savings account? It's the taxpayers. So we want to say, hey, leave your $26 million in this account, and we're going to bill you another $32 million over the next 13 years to pay the payment. That's a fact. The county has over $105 million in restricted and unrestricted cash as of August 31st, 2022. And I can show you the paperwork. That's on our clerk auditor's paper books. That's what it shows. Fact. June 6th, 2022, the money was budgeted to pay off the GO debt. We did that in June. Had the GO debt been paid off August 31st, the county would still have $78.5 million, including $16.5 million of unrestricted cash that can be used to replace the roof, the ACs, operations, and other needs. That's a fact. I've already touched on this, but I'm going to it again. It's now September. The county continues to have plenty of money to pay the bills without borrowing money. Our main money starts coming back in. Our property tax starts coming back in soon. You know, it comes in October and November is our biggest months. So, I mean, a couple other things that I want to get here that this project has brought up, and I'm thankful that it did. It's something that we hadn't seen until we dug into it a little bit. In 2021, the correction facility had revenues of $2.5 million and expenditures of $5.8 million. A loss of $3.3 million that the taxpayer is going to have to make up the difference, not including the 2.4 of the payment. So that's $5.7 million a year that we're asking the taxpayer to bear the burden of this. Where if we pay this off, that drops at 2.4 instantaneously, which we already did this year. But what that has made me look into now that I've realized that they're losing $3.3 million and we're housing state inmates, is this actually a viable project? It's like Ken said on the airport. What do we need to do to get that down so we quit bleeding red and turn it to black, at least break even? And this is our first step. And I ask, and I'm still asking anyone, if we leave the $26.5 million in the bank, what are we going to do with it? There's not been one project, there hasn't been one thing brought forward that we need the money for. And if we use that to do wage increases, that's a one-time money. Are wage increases needed? Sure. Things happen. But we need to do it on a base that's continuous, not a one-time. Those are facts. So I know that there's been a lot of things said, and I just wanted to clear the air. We are not paying 0% loans off. We're paying interest-bearing loans off. We're using money that we have no need for, that is sitting in there, that is taxpayers' money, and we're giving the rebate back to the taxpayers so they don't have to continue to pay another $2.4 million when we have the money to pay it off already. And those are facts. All this other stuff are feelings. I understand that people feel differently, but I don't make my decisions off feelings. I make them off facts. And you can continue to send me letters, and I appreciate it, and I'll look at them, but when they're false information, it's pretty disturbing that people believe that kind of stuff. We had a presentation last week or 2 weeks ago that was full of feelings, and you know, it's everybody has the right to believe what you want to believe, but they're just feelings. If you want true facts, come get a sheet. It has all the paperwork, and it says there was other thing that I really wanted to hit, and then I'll shut up. But there was a comment saying that we couldn't take any of the restricted funds, but that is not true. It says right here, if faced with economic hardship caused by substantial reduction in property tax revenues, the county may transfer funds from the Tax Stability Fund by holding a public hearing with the vote of the board that we can take money out. That's on the sheet. That's on the state paperwork. So if you have questions, ask the source. Don't get it from Facebook. We have the information. We'll gladly share it with you. I'll give you copies of anything that I've stated here. With that, Commissioner Horwich or Stringer, do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
And you know, except to just agreeing with what you're saying there and the time that we've spent looking at this and the decisions that we have made to move forward with this is just very good business financial decisions. I've done the same, different people, and you have looked at it, and I feel like it's a very good move for us to do.
Okay. Well, that's just for discussion, so do you have anything?
I was just gonna, one of those emails that came in that was full of misinformation also said something to the effect like, well, are you trying to bankrupt the county? I said, well, 8 years, we've done nothing but improve the financial situation of the county by eliminating some of the debt, a lot of the debt. So why would we live here? If we bankrupt the county, who's going to pay for it? Well, I am. Why would I do that? Why would anybody do that? I guess my concern is that where the false information is coming from, I don't know. But I'm kind of like you. I've looked at the numbers. I've looked at what's been done to arrive at this situation. And quite honestly, I have no concern about it. So I guess maybe if there are concerns from people that are saying, maybe county employees, maybe they should consider letting someone else run the show. We can find people that can take these numbers and say, we're going to be able to do this. This works perfectly fine. But if we're concerned that, well, we're going to have to go get more money or we're going to have to do this, maybe they're not the right person for the job. But that's just observation. I think it's just misinformation for other purposes. There seem to be a lot of, it it's at the national level, and it's here at the local level. There's a lot of meanness. There's a lot of misinformation. Everything is political, and everything is intended to advantage or disadvantage someone, and that's bothersome. But it is what it is. But I think what Commissioner Haslam has done is present facts, and they're open to anyone to dispute, and they don't have to be based on, well, I think, in my opinion. It's like, okay, that's fine, but it falls flat in the face of a fact. So.
Okay. You good? All right. Now we have public comment. We're going to have 10 minutes at 3 minutes apiece, but before I do that, would you like to get up, Mayor? You can tell us what it is that we forgot to put on the agenda, and then we'll get it on.
I don't know if it was on your end or our end, but we apologize to just drop in like this. We thought we were on the agenda today. I just have to say,
You now give your name and.
yes, so J.R. Bird, Roosevelt City Mayor. This is Ryan Claiborne. He's our Assistant City Manager. And so after that speech, though, I don't know if maybe we'll reschedule or come back another day. No, just to comment on what you just mentioned about the money in the bank and paying off. It's none of my business. I'm not in this county. But from a business standpoint, which I'm a businessman, the money in the bank at the rate of inflation right now, so at the year 2034, you're going to lose 7 to 9% of value of that money sitting in the bank right now as well. So that's something to consider. I mean, not only the 2.5% to 5% interest, but if you're losing 7 to 9% of value of that money sitting in the bank, that's also something to consider. That's neither here nor there. I'm not trying to take any sides or anything else. That's just an observation. Really quickly, though, the reason we're here, and we'll make it fast because we know it is a public comment period and we don't want to take a lot of that time. So we have a project in Roosevelt City, and it's a sports complex. And we've went about every avenue you can possibly imagine to try to fund the sports complex. We originally, when we had decided to build this, was about 2.5 years ago. And as I stated, with inflation and everything else that's gone on with COVID, that price has escalated from about $1.2 million to $3.5 million. After seeking outdoor recreation grants, Major League Baseball grants, everything else, and striking out, literally, we decided to go to CIB. CIB had heard the project. We presented it here locally, which it got pushed through to the next level. And we presented at CIB out in Salt Lake to the Commission, and they had decided to put it on the priority list, but when we had initially presented, it was a 50-50 split. They'd come back with a 92-8% split, so 92 loan, 8% grant. It was brought up in both meetings that because we're on the eastern side of Uintah County, of Duchesne County, and the western side of Uintah County, to possibly go to each county and see if they would be willing to participate in that project. So I've had a conversation with Commissioner Horrocks, let him know a little bit about what went on at the CIB meeting, and we were asked to come to Uintah County to see if you'd be willing to participate in any way in that project. To give you an idea, Roosevelt City, we did pulled some of our own data. So Roosevelt City, the city itself pays for this, but we have seen that our facilities are utilized about a 60-40 split. So 60% outside of Roosevelt City, 40% inside. We don't have an exact number of who comes from Ballard in that area, but we know it's a significant number, and the tribe as well. So our campaign, I guess, is to go. We just got done with Duchesne County this morning. We are here with Uintah County today, And I have talked to Devin Pearson with the tribe to also see if we can get an audience with the tribe to see if they'd be willing to help us out. We feel that we're not asking for a lot. We feel that with 50 to 100,000, possibly, that would show Uintah County support, and we feel that that would help us get a more favorable funding package with CIB, and so that's why we're here. We know you can't make a decision today. It's not on the agenda, but at least that's the information. Do you have any questions for me?
We'll get it on the agenda next week,
Okay.
and this way we'll have a little time to read
Little
through and look at
information.
it.
Yeah, any questions?
Where are you gonna build it?
So we own the property, Constitution Park. We have a walking path, and inside that walking path is it's a perfect space for that to go. It's closer to our other ball fields. We've had some tournaments, so there's some efficiencies there when we have tournaments and things, and also when we're as far as O&M. So, yeah. So, any other questions?
Just comments, as following around the state with these grandkids, there's scoreboards.
Yeah.
I'd really think about that before I did it anymore. Everybody uses this app on your phone that.
Scoreholio?
What was it?
Scoreholio,
I don't know.
I think is
But
what it's
anyway,
called. Yeah.
And they just sit there and keep that, and the players are up, you know, and they don't even use the scoreboards. They're sitting there, but they don't use them. And then the concession stands, I'd really rethink that too a little bit and look into it. I'm not saying it's a good idea for you guys, but with the food trucks and different things and the cost to put a concession stand in,
Sure.
Saturday was out there and they had the scoreboards and they had the concession stand. Neither one of them were working or open. You know what
So,
I'm saying? And that's
yeah.
pretty regular.
Does it say concession stand on that?
Well, it says future home of concession
Okay,
stand
yeah, and
space. Yeah.
we've
And I-
decided the same thing. We're just gonna put the utilities there for, trailers, food trucks, and not even worry about the concession stand. That's ongoing O&M that we don't wanna have to deal with. The scoreboard thing, that's a good thought though, and we'll look into
Well,
that.
just thought, it might not be good for your city, but it seems to be the trend out there. I haven't seen a scoreboard working out there in 3 years.
Yeah,
Once in a while you see a concession stand, but open. But anyway, thoughts?
That
good
concession
thoughts,
stand's the
thank you.
best burger we got.
What's that?
That
Oh,
concession.
ours is. Man, that's great food up there at ours, you know, and it works for us, so I'm not saying that they're expensive.
Right.
They're expensive to build, but.
sure. Good thoughts. Well, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thanks for coming over. Sorry we missed it, getting it on the agenda. Okay.
We're gonna put it on next week, is that what
Yeah.
does that work for you guys if we put that on next week? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now we'll go to public comment.
J.C. Brewer. And I'm not going to say what I've got to say in 3 minutes. So bear with me, please. I'm probably the poorest public speaker in this room. Takes me a little while to get my thoughts straight. I've sat here for I don't know how many weeks now and kept my big mouth shut, said nothing, listened, because I believe that the first thing a guy's got to do to make an intelligent statement is to educate himself. But, okay, now, that brings up my point here. Your facts, I can't dispute anything that any one of the three of you said as far as interest rates, all of this other crap. Because to me, it's just crap. I said to Brad Horrocks a few minutes ago when we were discussing an entirely different subject, facts aren't important. Perception is everything. Perception is everything. Now, you can present any subject in this room to anybody in this room, and the perception that these folks leave this room with on that subject or personal subject, it doesn't matter. Perception is everything. Gentlemen, you've been doing a damn poor job of controlling public perception. We've had argument after argument after argument, and like you just pointed out, all kinds of misconceptions. But that misconception is somebody's perception when they left this room, or somebody's perception when they read the newspaper, or somebody's perception when they read an email. We can avoid this kind of contention that we've had in this room for months and months now if a lot less is paid to somebody's fact, because facts can be anything from a dictator in some banana republic somewhere telling you what facts are because he's the dictator. We need you folks to start thinking that I don't care whether it's you or Bill or Brad or Sonia, John, I don't care who's sitting up there. That person needs to be thinking about the public perception of what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're thinking, and what you're doing. Perception is everything. Thank you.
Steve Huber, concerned citizen, Democrat candidate for county commissioner. I want to comment on what you guys just talked about. If that was, why wasn't this done 2-4 years ago? I remember in the campaign on the radio, Brad saying that we had 102 million in the bank. We've got 102 million still in the bank in these last. So anyway, why wasn't it done back then if it's going to save us money? And
Can I address something
no.
on that real quick?
No, you can comment after it because that's what happens anyway. But what my comment today is, what has been presented by myself, other concerned citizens, and even the county auditor has been fact. You unlawfully delegated an accounting services from the county auditor to the auditor as required by Utah code, which Pam put out, and have left the county vulnerable to embezzlement and misuse of county funds. All three of you are guilty of official misconduct. Therefore, I am serving the county clerk with a notice of intent to make a claim against your bonds. Now, fact. Let's see. It says this service as notice of intent to file a claim against the official oath and bond as required by Utah Code 52-1-1. Fact. On December 13th, 2021, Commissioner Bart Haslam, Bill Stringer, and Brad Horrocks unanimously passed ordinance number 12-13-2021-01, an ordinance delegating the county services provided for or executed on behalf of the entire county to a director of a newly created accounting department. Prior to passing of this ordinance, Uintah County accounting services were provided by county auditor as required by UCA 17-19A-20 205 meeting minutes of December 13th, 2021. Senate Bill 161 or 162 County Governance Amendment was passed by the Utah House on February 28, 2022 and signed into and signed by the governor on March 23rd, 2022. This bill and the Utah Code sections it amendment became evident May 4th, 2022. Senate Bill 162 specifically amended subsection 2 and UCA 17-19A-205. These amendments provided for a county operating under the County Executive Council form of government. They may, by ordinance, delegate accounting services to a county executive. Additionally, Senate Bill 162 specifically added Section 3 of UCA 17-19A-205. In addition, provided
Your time's
for...
up, Steve. Does anybody want to give their time to him? You got to come up.
Tammy Meekum, concerned citizen. I'll give my time to Mr. Huber. It's kind of interesting that you guys don't want the public to speak. You don't want stuff out there. You don't want it on media. You don't want it on minutes. You've cut minutes. You've cut tapes. Don't laugh at me, Bill. You know you have. I actually had stuff prepared today also, but I'm going to give my time to Mr. Huber, and I'll address the commission next week. I think it's disrespectful when public people, I don't care who they are, want to speak and you guys try to cut their time.
It's been noted at the time that each person had 3 minutes, and we have a total of 10.
But is that your discretion? Is that
Yes,
law?
it's my discretion as the
Yeah,
chair.
because you don't want the public to hear what's going on.
You're violating your oath too in it by not protecting my First Amendment right of freedom of speech.
Well, Tammy used used her time, so now you have no more time.
Oh, whatever.
Anybody else want to speak today?
John Larson. I guess I'll be sitting up there next year.
Be perfect.
Couple of things I'm concerned about. Number one is you're talking about facts. Well, I believe that in the meeting on August 15th, and comment was made that you're concerned that so much money left over, there's a possibility for future misuse. Looking to the future, he would like to see the county learn to manage money better by making sure the money is going to the right places. That's in the minutes. The question I have, gentlemen, is what the heck have you been doing since you've been sitting up there then if you think suddenly that you don't know how to handle the money and the next commission should? I take personal affront to the fact that you think that because the new council's coming in, or commission's coming in, they're not going to know what to do. I totally disagree. I don't accept it, and I really don't appreciate that kind of comments. Pertaining to the jail payoff, facts are facts. You made the comment that the jail can get $1.some million from having federal prisoners. I have heard the sheriff say, as per your questioning, has U.S. Marshals promised us anything? No. Do we know how much back and forth we're going to have to do? I know in Daggett County had their federal prisoners daily, 5 days a week, they were transporting them out to the U.S. court system. I don't see anybody telling me how much it's going to cost us to do that. You brought up the fact that, or the point that facts are facts and BS is BS, basically. Mr. Stringer, when it came down to the fact of putting in a new computer system, you had 4 elected officials say, no, we don't want it. Your comment was, I'm an elected official, I want it. Well, that's not listening to your people, that's being pretty personal. And I don't appreciate that kind of comment because, gentlemen, you're up there to represent the public, not your own special interests or your own concerns. You've brought up the fact that the jail's gonna have all this money, we're gonna spend all this money. Was it taken into consideration how much interest we'd be raising during that, or is that just a in-the-wind type thing? That's my question. Nobody said anything about it. Those are the things that bother me a whole bunch. I don't think that we're being honest with the people, and I think that's a big problem. You don't listen to the people, and is that my time to say I'm Brad?
No, it's only 2:20. I don't know why it went off. We still got 40 seconds if I can't stop it.
Okay, that's lunch by Brad today. Thank you.
Just to clarify a couple of things, John, as I do know you're coming in next, and I'm great with it. Two things, is I said the feelings first, and in the feelings comment was the 1.1 million that the sheriff brought up, not a fact. I didn't say fact, I said that's a feeling. He thinks he can generate that much more money, so I did not say fact. See, this is what I think. We don't have very good communication here. I did bring up the interest that would be earned by our treasurer. She brought up a few weeks ago that she could earn around $2 million with that money. And I did bring that up in the feelings.
Yes, you did.
Both of those that you said were fact, I brought up as feelings. And to answer the other question, the $1.2 million that was at the beginning of the year is 1.5 now. And the question was brought up, why didn't we do something earlier? We did. We paid off all the interest-bearing loans first that were larger, that were easier to take care of. We did that, knocked that amount from 1.2 down to about, I'm going to guess here, 91 million. And in the time that we've been in office, we've built it back up to the 105, and now we're going to pay this one off. So it's not something we've done. And if you want to go back to October 26th budget hearing and listen to our clerk auditor, he told us if we wanted to pay this off, to pay it off.
So why didn't we then?
I won't use the word because we were taking the higher interest rates first and paid them off first. They were higher interest rates than these.
I have one last question for you.
Uh-huh.
Who handles our investments? Does not Zion Bank handle most of our investments, one way or the other?
They have 20, I don't
A
want
bunch.
to, I'm going to say they have close to 20 million.
Did they not issue a letter or in a meeting saying this was not a good idea at this time?
If you had money, it was making money off their money, would you
No.
want it paid off?
Not what I asked you. Did they or didn't they?
Yeah, but I've listened to a lot better people than Zion's Bank.
Well, then why are we doing business with them if they're so
I
much
don't
better?
know. I
They're
don't
the
know.
ones sitting there.
Not my people.
Smoke and mirrors, I'm sorry. That's all I see from you guys.
10 minutes is up.
Okay,
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
we adjourned.